Well, we continue with the broadcast this morning and taking a look at Rohingya, taking a look at the refugees in Bangladesh. Now, we've learned of thousands of refugees left homeless after a fire broke out in the refugee camp. And we are now joined from Germany, Dr. Ambia Perveen, Chairperson of the European Rohingya Council. Dr. Ambia Perveen, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you very much, people of South Africa and the Salam Media, for raising the Rohingya awareness constantly. Thank you so much once again.
Well, we certainly will continue raising the awareness. Now, this fire that has gone through or that have blazed through the refugee camp in Bangladesh, what do we know about this fire that broke out, Dr. Perveen?
This is not the first time. There were several fire accidents or incidents happen in these refugee camps where more than 1 million vulnerable survivors of genocide and the victims of genocide lives, and there it is a devastating what's going on. As I've mentioned earlier, it is not the first time. I hope this will be the last time. There is no law of order or law of law of order or law of laws there, because the Bangladesh Prime Minister last year, I think in September, said somewhere in an interview that the Rohingyas are burden to their country and they cannot take care of us. So if there is no rule of law and rule of order in the country, especially in that refugee camps, where are lacks of policies, there are lacks of basic human rights are not properly provided to the people, and there's no security, there's no protection. Though the ICJ even mentioned that these are the vulnerable people, they need to be protected, people of protection. So since the Sheikh Hasina Prime Minister said those things, so it is very difficult to control that area. And nevertheless, this is not the and there were the previous incidents, there were lack of also investigation. We have till right now, we don't know what was went wrong, and they were not prepared. These kind of incidents through the past history have not been prepared how to tackle in future. So, and then in this one, again, the vulnerable people have been paying their lives. They lost everything what they had. They have now no evidences. If they have to, if one day, inshallah, we go back to our country, the repatriation, the process, the papers, the documentation, the legal documentation, and many things have been lost. So I request the people of Rohingya, request to the international community is to focus on Bangladesh and to request them to prepare further incidents and to investigate what happened and what other precautions can be taken. And nevertheless, we all know that in this refugee camp, more than 65% are women and the children. And these children, especially 50%, they are exposed to every traumas since they have moved from Myanmar to Bangladesh.
Yes, and also, Dr. Perveen, when one looks at these refugees, they are constantly at risk in more ways than one. And when one looks at this fire as well, looking at where they're staying, looking at their living conditions, looking at even the materials that are being used in the huts that they are living to, I mean, there is a huge risk. And when a fire of this nature takes place, it spreads like you can't believe. And that is the reason why we've learned that close on to 2,000 huts have actually burned to the ground, and each hut hosts something like 4 or 5 people. So thousands of people once again affected by this latest incident.
Yes. As you mentioned, and Ramadan is coming. People are preparing, and there was already the from the World Food Program the reduce of the rations, and this has also made the people they were thinking a lot how to survive the Ramadan. Now they have lost almost everything. And as I've said, this is not the first time. I hope this will be the last time. And these people, these are the vulnerable people. They need to be protected, not only by by Myanmar people of protection, but also in Bangladesh. We are seeking the refuge, and we need to go back one day. And if these people will be exposed to traumas daily, with their stress daily factors, how these people will be developed to a healthy person, and will be the people who will be protecting their own identity, their own ethnicity, and how they will be work further. These will be the people with, especially the children, they will be mentally and morally will be lost. And after the situation, after the 6 years already starting, when these refugees have fled the country, there is a zero hopelessness in the refugee camps. People are moving and taking the journeys, dangerous journeys, to move to Malaysia and Indonesia in seek of protective life, security, and a better life. So after this devastation and these several incidents, people will be, at the end of the day, the children will be suffered, the women will be suffering. They will be engaged with every crimes. They will be engaged with every crimes, and especially with the human trafficking, drug trafficking, and etc.
Yes, Dr. Parveen, and this is the sad part as far as the Rohingya is concerned. Everywhere they go, they are being exploited in more ways than one. I mean, fleeing from from their country is one thing, but wherever they are, you mentioned Malaysia. We know what is taking place in Bangladesh. We know what has happened with exploitation, human trafficking that has taken place. So, at every turn, and to add insult, we've even learned about the UN, the United Nations, food aid, the cuts that they've made, and again, the World Food Program, their plans to actually cut, vital food aid to the Rohingya refugees.
Yes, the announcement that the World Food Program has made, it has it has uh, it has shocked all of us, because the Russians that they were getting, the voucher they were getting, it was not at all enough. And we were not getting the proper meals and proper nutritions. And there is a high risk, there's a high risk of malnutrition among the children below 5 years old. And plus there are pregnant women, and there are chronic patients, chronic diseases, which they need a proper nutrition. This was not at all enough. And beside that, knowing all these things, at the end, these vulnerable Rohingyas have to pay. And beside that, also that the people cannot engage, they cannot go outside, they have to live within their barbed camps. They cannot go out, and the people cannot come inside. So there is also very less ways to earn extra money for their people, to have a better life. And on the above, with a lot of exposure of traumas, we are reducing their vouchers from 12 to 10. How these people will be able to move forward? And again, as I've said, due to the insecurity, due to the lack of protection, due to the basic human rights in the refugee camps in Bangladesh, people, our girls, our children, our youth will be engaged to many other crimes, which can turn to not a crisis of the regional or the locals. It can turn to the worldly crisis. So that's why it's so important to protect these vulnerable people. At the end of the day, we know that we need to go back to our country. We really want to go back, but there is a lack of communication between the Bangladesh and Myanmar. Myanmar is not willing to take us back. The Rakhines, where our Arakan, where the other ethnic minorities are taking a place over there, they don't want us to go back. So the international international community has diverted their interest, first due to the COVID, now due to the Russia, due to the Ukraine. At the end of the day, our chapters, the Rohingyas crisis, has becoming worse and worse, and we are disappearing. You know how many people have lost today, right now? It is okay that maybe they have not died so many people like the other times, but still morally we are dying, mentally we are dying. The hope is the hope is increasing in the refugee camps. So it's so important that the Bangladesh government should really this time at least focus and investigate and hold the people accountable who are responsible for these. And the barbed wires, you have seen it, people could not escape due to the barbed wires. How can you torture these people, and at the end of the day you torture them more by putting the barbed wires and not able to escape? So there should be a different type of strategy should be taken, so the people will be feel comfortable. Okay, not even comfortable, but at least that they are secured and they can run away when the time comes such kind of accidents happens.
Well, Dr. Perveen, we certainly will continue providing coverage on the plight of the Rohingya and to make the world aware of what is happening. And yes, our thoughts are with you. Our thoughts are with the Rohingya people, as it's always been. And hopefully, at some point in time, we will be touching base again. But for now, we thank you. We say Jazakallah for your time. And please take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. Jazakallah.
Dr. Ambia Perveen with us this morning. A quick break, and we come back. We will be joined with by the Islamic Dawah movement. We are talking about the Quran project in Uganda.